Yes, people, what's going on? AdamMcKola here now. It's been a traumatic 24 hours for all Manchester United fans. I think we've all got a little PTSD after that. And this morning, myself and Rory recorded the McKola and Rory podcast. And I got to vent a little bit. We got to chat a little bit about what the hell is going on at Manchester United. What happened in that defeat against Liverpool. Will the board act? Will they sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Or will he survive this horrible result? We had a chat about all those things in the podcast. Here's a clip of it. But remember, in the description below is a link. You can click the link and get the close to an hour full episode of the podcast on Spotify, Apple, Deezer, Audio Boom, all those places. So check it out, but enjoy the clip.
For the 6-1 against Manchester City. And I thought that was it's not going to get any worse than this. But
you won the league both of those years, didn't you?
The weird things about those games is, one, you're in a strong position like that. Two, you had Fergie there who, in the City game, for example, we go down to 10 men. Instead of going less shot up shot, he goes, we can still win this, and tries to attack and attack and attack. And we're just getting cut open on the break every time. And you kind of go, well, that's Fergie. He always goes for it. The next game will be fine. There's none of that this time around. There's none of that. There's nothing to cling to this time around in that it will be fine, because I think this is a performance, and Paul Scholes got it bang on midweek, that you could see coming. A result, that you could see coming based off the performances that we've seen. The disjointed, disorganized, the back four was all over the place. The goalkeeper saved us on multiple occasions. Without David De Gea this season, it would have been a lot worse, and we've heard that before on so many times. And this is a player that many people wanted to be replaced this summer. The midfield, not good enough, but not protected either. So far away from the front four. And all these things, they come down to training ground basics. Like, your back line being organised comes down to what you do on the training ground. Yes, in a game, a certain team can rip you apart. But if you go and watch the Everton goal, and you can go and watch the first goal that Liverpool scored yesterday, on Sunday, you'll see exactly the same things happening. Maguire misshaped, out of place. Luke Shaw covering up for him, running wildly out of position. The whole right flank being exposed, and it just being easy for a team to just shift the ball over there. There you go. You're free in goal now. You can score. And Everton did that twice to us. Tom Davies should have scored. You pass the ball, they get a goal which is offside. So it's been something which has been a common theme, and we saw it last season as well.
You know, when it's this bad, and I think this is a new low for Manchester United, particularly in under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. This is the pits. In terms of what's next, everybody's talking now. What's next? Will they act? Like, sacking a Manchester United manager isn't something that the club's hierarchy generally takes particularly lightly. They don't do it swiftly. You know, as you've pointed out on the kickoff, they waited with Moyes. They wait until there is a time. And I think that it's down to four people, isn't it? There are four people that will make this decision. It's Ed Woodward, the two Glazers, and that fellow comically called Richard Arnold, who I always think is the bloke off GMTV, but isn't. Those four people are going to come together. Are you, and like within the Manchester United fan base, the conversations that you're hearing, the Twitter accounts that you follow, the people who go to games that you know, that you rate, are people now generally saying enough is enough? Or is there still that loyalty to Solskjaer to persevere?
There will always be, and look, when I say this, Jose Mourinho also got this support. Van Gaal also got this support. Moyes also got this support. I remember being 3-0 down against Liverpool, under Moyes, and we did not stop singing. And like we back managers inside the ground, regardless of what your opinion is, you inside the ground, and I know there've been boos at times, but inside the ground predominantly you sing for the team and all that, just get behind them. And I think a bit of it is a pride thing. Like, I think those fans that were left inside Old Trafford yesterday, and granted a lot of them left, but those that were left in there were singing their hearts out of, we can't let these Liverpool fans just have the whole of Old Trafford and just be singing, like, we need to do something here. So I think a little bit of it's pride, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer we will always want him to do well within the ground. But I do think, and I am seeing like tweets or little messages or just people having conversations, and it feels over. It feels
Do you know
like it's done.
Mourinho ad was sacked
Yeah,
after a defeat to Liverpool.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wonder if the fact that it's Liverpool, the poise of Liverpool, the prestige of Liverpool, and the relationship that they have with Manchester United. I wonder the fact that it was Liverpool for Mourinho, potentially Liverpool for Solskjaer. Does the fact that it was Liverpool that did it make it a little bit more significant, amplify it?
If Liverpool win 2-0 yesterday, no. But the manner of defeat, that image, I saw a screenshot of an image, yeah, of Old Trafford, the scoreline, the time of the game, which is like 50 minutes or something. And the whole of Sir Matt Busby Way was pretty, it looked like pre-match when everyone's heading in, do you know what I mean? And it's like, people sit up and take notice of that in directors' rooms and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not, if you just lose and you lose 2-0, but the manner of defeat and then the shocking like footfall just leaving Old Trafford. And I don't blame any of those fans, by the way, because it's difficult. I wanted to leave the set at the kickoff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's difficult to sit
Adam,
there and watch your team taking a thumping like that. But that picture, if you're one of the board of directors and you see that, I think that's where you go, we've got a problem here. Because that image is a big one. And in the ground,
do you know this?
He will always have
you get those
people singing his
symbolic.
name.
Yeah, it's symbolic, isn't it? And but do you know the problem as well? You know that image that you touched on there, and it does feel symbolic. So Matt Busby Way, vibrant at 50 minutes into the game or whatever, full of people trying to get home. That is significant. But do you know what feels really significant? And you may have swerved this out, and I understand why. But there was a bit with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sort of barking orders. This is at 4-0 down, I think, barking orders onto the pitch. And in the background, you've got 3,500 Scousers going potty, singing Ollie's at the wheel. Like Solskjaer must have felt about 3 foot tall there. You know, when you're bitterest of rivals, and you've got to remember, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a man who, I mean, yesterday I made a mistake on the kickoff because I kind of referred to him as an English manager or not as a foreign manager. And everyone kind of went, well, he's Norwegian. I was like, I know, but he's not, because he's kind of entrenched into Premier League culture, and he speaks with a Mancunian accent. He feels like very much part of the Premier League.
Well, I mean,
fabric.
in his post-match interview yesterday, he said, for someone from Manchester like me. So it's
yeah,
like,
exactly. Do you see what I mean?
He feels like
imagine
a part of it, and rightly so.
Imagine him hearing the Scousers singing Ollie's at the wheel, and then they're giving it that Ollie must stay, hello. You like, for him as a diehard Manchester United man, knowing that it's a results-driven business, knowing that his team are losing 5-0 at home to his biggest rivals, he must know that his job prospects here are bleak.
And I also
to say the
thought
least.
his comments after the game, I felt like it was almost like if the board's thinking about sacking me, here's why you shouldn't, or this is what the board would want to hear from me in order to not sack me. Because his comments were like, I'm going to keep fighting, like, all I believe in is going back to work, working hard, and I trust in all of that. I know he'll be hurting after yesterday. That made me hurt a little bit. Like, one of my mates messaged me yesterday, like, lads, we need to talk. And I'm like, bro, there's nothing to talk about. It's done, but I can't talk about this. Like, I feel for this guy, like, because I know he wants nothing more for this to work. You know what I mean? Like, when other managers at times can make it about them, or they start to have digs and they start to just try to force their way out. There's none of, like, he doesn't want to be forced out. He wants to make this work. And when someone wants it so much, it's gonna kill him. But I think we're seeing he's not the right man to take us forward anymore.
And the problem is it's the defending
as well.
It's the defending, and ultimately that comes down to him. It's 10 games in a row. The defending United haven't kept a clean sheet. 10 games in a row, no clean sheets.
Norwich have more clean sheets than us.
Oh my lordy, Adam!
It's not just the defending. The defending's bad, but I think it's it's a symptom of everything that's wrong. Like, because there's also no cohesion in midfield and attack. Like, everything's just falling apart. And look, I'm not one of these people that says Ollie's got no tactics, because he obviously has some sort of tactics. He got to second place in the league. But in terms of being able to build a cohesive unit from back to front that's solid defensively and can attack in equal measure, we just can't do it. We can't do it. And there's no, you can't keep going. Like, the thing with 2 years ago, when he finishes third, you can go, look at this squad. Like, everyone predicted this squad to finish outside the top four. He's done a really good job here. Last season,
I know.
Some people expected us to finish outside the top four. Then he gets a second, and you think he failed to bring a trophy home. He should have brought a trophy home, but he's progressed. A few more signings, them trophies will come. There's none of that anymore. It's like, you should be winning. You should be competing for trophies with this team, and we're falling out of the race in October. Like,
you're out of it. I'm afraid, mate. Yeah, you're out.
Sorry, we're out of it in October.
Yeah.
Like, but
can I ask you
something to rescue there? Like,
yeah, I mean, it does look so bad. But if they persevere, ultimately Manchester United this season just need to get into the top four, don't they? Because we've got a lot of issues going on in world finances at the moment, particularly in the footballing context. Not finishing in the top four is unthinkable for Manchester United, the brand of Manchester United, and who Manchester United are on the world stage. Do you still think that whilst you concede that the league is done, does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer have enough to turn this defence around? Like, the moment for me, we were saying there's these symbolic moments. What about when McTominay, Shaw and Maguire all bumped into one another and allowed Mohamed Salah to just come away with the ball? Can Solskjaer do enough to put those problems right and simply get the club fourth spot? Do you believe that fourth is within his grasp? Because that's ultimately all it really comes down to this year now.
When you're watching your team get battered by Liverpool 5-0, never once do you feel you can get top four. But when you realistically look at the table, you think, look, when you look at the table, you go, outside of most of these teams, United should be able, it's a top four battle now. And you probably fancy United out of the other teams.
Yeah, I do, actually. That's what I was going to say. I still think
if we continue to play
four
like this, do you know what I mean? It's like, if you continue to play like this, if this festers, if this continues to, then you find yourself in a position where you're then scrapping for it. Whereas right now, I think we should get top four. Do you know what I mean? But when you're playing like this, week in, week out, Everton coming to Old Trafford, getting a draw, Villa are coming to Old Trafford and beating you, Liverpool are smashing you for 5, getting their biggest win at Old Trafford in God knows how long. Like, when all these things
60 years.
Yeah, it's hard to build that momentum to then go, well, actually, we can get top four. But you win 2 or 3 games, and I think United are right in there. It's just that
that's why I think he could stay, though. That would be my only reasoning as to why he could stay. Like, I've kind of made it clear my feelings with regard to Solskjaer since Gdansk. That's where it changed for me. I thought up until that point I kind of backed him. It changed his conduct in that final, changed it for me. But I think targets and aspirations throughout the course of the season, they change. So at the beginning of the season, the target was to win the league. Now it's probably not the target. Well, it isn't the target. Mm-hmm. So now the target has to become last 16 of the Champions League minimum and top 4. And I think that is the question that the board, the 4 members of that board that we said will make this decision, those 4 members will have to answer that question totally honestly. Can Ole Gunnar Solskjaer secure top 4 for Manchester United next year and therefore Champions League qualification? And if they conclude that he can, then why sack him?
Because the performance speaks volumes. The performances speak volumes, I think. Now, if the board care about that kind of thing, and you're looking at those performances, you go, we've got a problem. We've got a massive... And also, if you're having that conversation on the 25th of October, can we get top 4? Got a problem.
So there you go, guys. Thank you for watching this video on AdamMcKola TV. Make sure you're subscribing, and also make sure you go and subscribe or follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple, Deezer, all those things. If you enjoyed it, you can check out the rest of the podcast. The link is in the description below. And thank you for tuning in. We'll have more content this week, so keep it locked. Until next time, I've been AdamMcKola. I'm out there.